What if I told you that losing weight after 40 has almost nothing to do with eating less or moving more and everything to do with a quiet hormonal shift your body goes through that almost nobody explains to you? There is a shift happening inside your body right now, one that changes how you store fat, how you build muscle, and how your hormones talk to each other, and it usually starts years before anyone notices it. Maybe you are eating the exact same way you did in your 20s and 30s, the same portions, the same meals, and yet the weight creeps on slowly, especially around your middle, no matter what you try. So you cut more calories, skip dessert entirely, add an extra walk after dinner, and for a couple weeks the scale dips slightly until it stalls again and refuses to move no matter how strict you stay. Months pass, you have tried the same things that used to work without fail, and the frustration builds quietly because deep down it starts to feel like your body simply stopped responding to effort altogether. And yet nothing changed no matter how disciplined you stayed. Here's exactly why. The reason was never about effort or willpower, it was about a slow hormonal shift working quietly in the background the entire time. Linda is 46, has 3 kids, and used to drop 5 pounds within a week whenever she cut back on bread and sugar, a trick that had worked reliably for her since her 20s without fail. She tried the same trick again, cutting bread and sugar completely for 3 full weeks, tracking everything carefully, staying consistent every single day without a single slip, just like she always had before. But this time, the scale did not move at all. Her energy dipped instead, and she quietly started to wonder if something inside her body had simply changed for good, without anyone ever warning her about it. But here is what almost nobody realizes. The real shift was not in her food choices. It was in 3 hormones quietly changing levels in her body, all happening at the exact same time without any obvious signs. This shift does not look like a problem from the outside. It does not feel dramatic. It feels like getting older, which is exactly why it slips past every diet plan and every fitness tracker completely unnoticed. Everyday habits like skipping strength training, eating the same calories as a decade ago, and getting less deep sleep each year all quietly feed this shift. And that shift is directly tied to the stubborn weight you cannot lose. And this is where it gets interesting. This shift does not just slow things down evenly, it actively changes where your body decides to store fat and how easily it lets that fat go, hour by hour. The first hormone involved is estrogen, which slowly declines starting in your late 30s and 40s. And estrogen plays a direct role in where your body prefers to store fat throughout your life. As estrogen drops, fat storage shifts away from the hips and thighs and moves toward the belly and waist, which is why the same weight on the scale can suddenly look and feel completely different on your body. The second shift involves muscle mass, which naturally declines a little every year starting in your 30s, and muscle is one of the biggest factors in how many calories your body burns simply at rest. Less muscle means a lower resting metabolism, so the same calorie intake that maintained your weight years ago now creates a small surplus every single day, one that quietly adds up over months and years. Stay with me here because the third piece matters just as much. Insulin sensitivity, how efficiently your body uses sugar for energy, also declines gradually with age, especially when muscle mass drops alongside it. Lower insulin sensitivity means sugar lingers longer in your bloodstream after meals, and your body responds by releasing more insulin, a hormone that strongly favors storing fat over releasing it for energy. Put these 3 shifts together, declining estrogen, declining muscle, and declining insulin sensitivity, and you get a body that stores fat more easily in a new place while burning fewer calories than before. None of this happens overnight. It builds slowly over years, which is exactly why it feels invisible, until one day you notice your usual approach has simply stopped producing the results it once did so reliably. Think of your metabolism after 40 like a car that slowly loses fuel efficiency with age. It still runs fine, but it needs slightly different care and fuel than it did when it rolled fresh off the lot. Daily habits make this worse without anyone realizing it. Skipping breakfast and relying on coffee, sitting most of the day at a desk, and going months without any strength training all quietly speed up muscle loss. A second wave of habits compounds it further. Late dinners eaten quickly while distracted, skipping water for soda or juice, and going to bed at a different time every single night throughout the week. Even habits that feel healthy can backfire here. Long, slow cardio sessions with no strength work, juice cleanses that strip away muscle-protecting nutrients, and skipping meals to save calories all quietly worsen the shift. Weekend patterns erase progress too. Sleeping in late and throwing off your rhythm, skipping planned workouts because the week felt long, and grazing on snacks while watching television all add up quietly over time. And the worst part is, none of these feel like mistakes. They feel like a normal week. But there is a way forward, and it is far simpler than overhauling your entire diet or training schedule. It is not about willpower, and your body is not broken or working against you. Your body is simply responding to a natural hormonal shift, the same way everybody eventually does after a certain age. Your body was not failing you, it was adapting to less muscle and changing hormones the only way it knows how, and the good news is that you can directly influence both of those factors starting today. The single biggest lever after 40 is not cutting more calories, it is building and protecting muscle through regular strength training, because muscle is the one factor in this entire equation you can actively grow back. You were never failing at this. Your old approach simply stopped matching what your body needed now, and once you know that, the path forward looks a lot less like restriction and a lot more like rebuilding. The solution in daily practice looks like this: 2 or 3 short strength sessions a week focused on major muscle groups, paired with enough protein at each meal to actually support that muscle being rebuilt. What to skip? Hours of slow cardio with no resistance work and skipping meals to save calories. What to keep? Your daily walks and your favorite foods in moderation, just paired with consistent strength training. The moment you start strength training consistently, your body begins rebuilding muscle and improving insulin sensitivity at the same time, and the common fear that this requires hours in a gym is simply not true. The minimum effective dose is small, 2 20-minute strength sessions a week, repeated consistently. By week 2, you may notice better energy, and by week 6 or 8, many people notice their clothes fitting differently. Think of muscle like a furnace inside your body. The bigger and more active that furnace, the more fuel it burns, even while you are sitting still, simply existing throughout your day without doing anything extra. When you lose muscle without replacing it, that furnace shrinks quietly every year, burning less fuel even though your daily habits stayed exactly the same, which explains why old approaches stop working over time. Or think of hormones like a thermostat setting that slowly drifts over the years. The room is not broken, the setting itself shifted, and strength training is one of the most direct ways to reset it. Once you see it this way, you cannot unsee it. And if you are wondering whether it is too late to rebuild muscle after 40, research consistently shows the body responds to strength training at any age. Start with this. Pick 2 days this week for a short strength session, even just bodyweight squats, push-ups, and rows done at home with no equipment needed at all to begin building the habit. Then add a palm-sized portion of protein to each meal and watch for steadier energy throughout the day as your first sign it is working. If you miss a session, simply pick the habit back up the next day. Linda started with 2 short strength sessions a week and added protein to breakfast. Within 6 weeks, her energy steadied, and by month 3, the stubborn weight around her middle had quietly started shifting again. This is not a shortcut, and it will not happen in a week. It is working with your changing biology instead of against it. And like any real change, it tends to build steadily over 8 to 12 weeks. Before tomorrow, try picking just one simple strength move, like a bodyweight squat, and doing 10 slow repetitions, noticing how your body feels afterward compared to a normal day with no movement at all. You were never the problem, and your body was never working against you on purpose. It simply needed a different approach for this new stage, and now you finally know what that approach looks like.